5 books for Christian boys, coming up. Hi everyone, and welcome to Book Talks with Miss Thomas. I am Miss Thomas, and I am doing this Philippians 4 project where I'm trying to come up with books for the young adult reader, ideally. There are some middle grade books that I've recommended. The last video was on books for the young adult girl, books for the Christian girl reader, teen girl. And I could easily come up with 10 books. There's actually more that I could come up with, but I'm gonna do a video on romance books, and I'm gonna do a video on action books and a couple other videos. And many of those videos will have books that appeal to the young adult girl as well. But for this video, I really wanted to dedicate at least one list to boys for the young adult teen boy, Christian boy. And so I could only come up with 5, which is half as many as books for teen girls. If you are an author and you are watching this, please, please, please write some books for some Christian boys, teenage boys. They do like to read also. All right, so I'm going to start with this one that I bought immediately. I heard Lou mention it on Christian Faith and Fiction, and as soon as I saw her video, I got online and ordered this book. And this is the Action Bible, and it is illustrated by the same illustrator for DC and Marvel. This guy actually did illustrations for DC and Marvel Comics as well. There he is. His name is Sergio Cariello, I think. Sergio Cariello, or Carillo. I think it's Cariello. And it's just really cool. I got it for my son, but I said, can I borrow this for my video? And I just love it. So I'm going to show you a few pictures from the book, just real quick. God's Wager, that's the book of Job. And we know that God didn't, bet in a way that's, sinful. Actually, Satan approached God and made the wager, but I love the title. Some of these titles are great. And here is Adam and Eve in the garden, just saying. And Judges. I love the book of Judges. I did a really good study on the book of Judges, so I need to show you. Look at the golden calf though, here's the golden calf. The book of Judges. All right, so here we go. A bad haircut. And then the next one is bringing down the house, right? The story of Samson and Delilah. So I could show you this book, like I should do like a Bible story time with the Action Bible. But I definitely recommend this for the teen boy. I think, a lot of these books girls and boys would enjoy, but I wanted to do at least one video for the teen boy. So I recommend this one for the Christian teen boy. And then these next 2 they sound really, really good to me. I confess I have not yet read them, but as soon as I heard about them, I bought them, and I absolutely plan to read them. And this one is The Last Thing I Remember by Andrew Clavin. And it says that Stephen King calls the author of this book the most original novelist of crime and suspense since Cornell Woolrich. And he's the recipient of 2 Edgar Awards and the author of such bestsellers as True Crime, Don't Say a Word, and The Empire of Lies. So I definitely wanted to get this and read this and see if it would appeal to the Christian teen boy. Like I say, I haven't read it, but the back is really short. So I'll just tell you what the back says. It says, He's strapped to a chair, he's covered in blood and bruises, he hurts all over, and a strange voice outside the door just ordered his death. The last thing he can remember, he was a normal high school kid doing normal things, working on his homework, practicing karate, daydreaming, and becoming an Air Force pilot, writing a pretty girl's number on his hand. How long ago was that? Where is he now? Who is he really? And more to the point, how is he going to get out of this room and stay alive? So that one sounds really good, and I think it would appeal to, the Christian teenage boy. I'm hoping so. I will read it, and if there's something wrong, I'll come back on here and say, no. But I'm excited. I think it sounds pretty good. And another one that came highly recommended to me, which I have not yet read, but am excited enough that I went out and bought it, is, and by the way, I'm not one of those booktubers that has shelves and shelves of books. I tend to get it from the library unless I really, really, really want it. So if I went out and bought it, it's definitely something I plan to read. I don't usually hold on to books after I buy them, though. Sometimes I pass them around church or just give them to friends, or I bring them to work because I'm a reading specialist. So this one is called Alienation by John S. Lewis, and this is book 2. Like I say, I'm not familiar with these books, so when I bought it, I didn't know that it was number 2 in the Chaos trilogy. So I don't know, sometimes it's better for me to pick up in the middle of the trilogy and see if it's something that appeals to me or not. But this one deals with, I think, science fiction and outer space. And it says, all Colt wants to do is return to his old life where aliens don't exist, where mankind hasn't been targeted for destruction, and where his parents are still alive. Unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. The United States government believes Colt holds the key to our survival, so they're sending him to the Chaos Military Academy, along with his best friend Oz and Danielle, or his best friends, plural, Oz and Danielle. There, they will be trained to defend Earth against a swarm of alien shapeshifters known as the Thule. But someone is trying to eliminate Colt before he can lead that charge. Shocked to learn about the key events in his past and unsure who he can trust, he is alienated on the run. Alienated and on the run. In a world of high-tech gear, shape-shifting aliens, simulated reality, and hoverboards, Colt must step into his true destiny before our world falls into chaos. I guess hence the Chaos trilogy there. So that sounds definitely to me like something that would appeal to a teenage Christian boy. So probably to a lot of boys, but my heart is with the Christian boy since I'm trying to, build a Christian library for Christian teens. Okay, so those are the 3 that I have in my possession. Another one I am currently listening to the audiobook, and that one's called The Mountain Between Us. I'll put the picture up here. And that one is also available on film. Personally, I like to compare the book to the film. I know some people, they don't like, to watch the film. I usually like the book better, but I do enjoy comparing the two after I've read the book. So The Mountain Between Us, it's actually written for adults, but it hasn't gotten into anything inappropriate or offensive, and I don't think it will. It's published as a Christian book. But it sounds like a really good survivalist story for the teenage boy. It's the story of a man who is a doctor, and he is trying to get home to his wife after a medical convention when there's this big snowstorm. And so he charters a plane. He convinces this guy to fly him out into Denver so that he can get a little closer to home, and on a very small charter plane. And this other woman from the airport ends up joining them. So there's this man who's a doctor and this woman who is a magazine writer that wants to get home in time for her wedding. She's actually planning to be married. And they are flying in this snowstorm when the plane crashes, and they are stuck in this mountain, hence The Mountain Between Us. And so I always thought The Mountain Between Us was about the two people on the cover of the book, the man and the woman on the plane, but I think it's about, I'm not finished the book, but I think it's about the people that are stranded on the mountain because of the plane crash and how they want to get home. The mountain is between them and their lives back home. But it's a really good survivalist story. You know, this man is trying to keep the woman alive after the plane crashed, and he's trying to find food, and he, you know, heats up the snow in order to avoid dehydration. And he just has to create a lot of interesting things. He's just like a jack of all trades. He's really a good survivalist, and he reflects on his youth. Apparently his father was kind of overbearing and possibly abusive, and his father wanted him to be this track star, and so he made him run track, and you know, he has this endurance now as a result. So to me, that's like God uses all things for good, you know, the good of those who love him. So even though his childhood was awful, that comes in handy now because he has this endurance to survive. So that's as far as I am with The Mountain Between Us. And then the last one I want to talk about, again, it was written for adults, but I think it would be a good one for the teenage boy. And I have finished this one. I read this one cover to cover and I loved it. And that one is called The Noticer by Andy Andrews. I'm not making that up. His name is Andy Andrews. I'll put it here. And The Noticer, it reminded me of Touched by an Angel, if you're old enough to remember that TV series. I don't know if the Noticer is supposed to be an angel. I don't think he's supposed to be God. But the Noticer is this man who just comes up to people and engages them in conversation and ends up helping them turn their lives around. And so the book begins with this man, and he's really down on his luck, and he's just feeling like there's no point really to his life when the Noticer comes up to him and tries to have a conversation with him, and then drops off 3 books and says, "Here, read these books and, you know, see if that changes things for you." So the character reads the books, and it does. It actually just brings out something in him, and he becomes more motivated and more excited about life, and he does completely turn his life around. And the Noticer moves from person to person throughout the book. There's this couple that's unhappily married, and the Noticer gets together with them and has a conversation, and their lives, you know, change for the better. And so throughout the book, this character, the Noticer, is just bringing about all these changes in these different people's lives. And I reviewed that in a different video. I'll link it, and you can see the full review if you like. But I think the Noticer would be a good choice for the teen Christian boy as well. So that's only 5. I'm so sorry. I wish I could go on and on and on and on about wonderful books for the teenage Christian boy. I think there's really a desperate need for that. If you can recommend any, please do that in the comments. I would be really interested, because even though I'm finishing this Philippians 4 project, by the way, that project, if you're new, and if you're new, please subscribe. But that project, the Philippians 4 project, is where I am creating a list of books that I would recommend to the Christian teen. And then I am giving a check for $500 to a Christian school so that they can build a library. They already have a library, but I want them to build onto it and add wonderful, engaging books, because it just breaks my heart that people, you know, they might think, oh, there's nothing good out there to read if they're a young adult reader, or I don't want anyone to think, oh, Christians are boring, you know. They're actually, just read the book of Judges. They're not boring. But I would really love to have some good books that, you know, Christian teenagers can get their hands on. So there's 5. I'm going to continue this project. Even after I give the check and the list to the school, I'm going to continue to try and find books that I would recommend to the Christian reader, you know, young or old. I don't know where this is going to take me, but I have a few more things from my list that I want to do. I want to do the Christian romance for the Christian teen, and I want to do the Christian action book. As I've said, there's a few more videos coming up from this Philippians 4 project, so stay tuned.